So imagine this. You're out of breath, your shoes are still wet from a stream you crossed an hour ago, your fingers are freezing, and suddenly the trail opens up, and there it is, a huge bowl of ice blue water surrounded by white snow and dark rock. That was my very first look at Katora Lake, and honestly, it felt like stepping into another planet.
And you forgot to mention the most important detail. We were both completely silent, which, if you know us, never happens. I just remember standing there thinking, okay, this is why people keep talking about northern Pakistan like it's a dream.
Yeah, for once, even we had no jokes left. Today, we're taking you through that exact trek, how we actually reached Katora Lake in Kumrat Valley, what it felt like on the trail, the costs, the mistakes, and that one moment when I seriously questioned my life choices on the way up.
And by the end, you'll know if this trek is your thing or not, and how to plan it without overthinking every tiny detail. It's like a 5-minute shortcut to what we wish someone had told us before we went.
All right, let's start from the very beginning, getting to Kumrat Valley, which is your base for Katora Lake. Most people will start from Islamabad or Peshawar. From Islamabad, you're basically heading towards Deer. You can take a bus or shared coaster up to Timargara and then Deer. It's a full-day journey, so keep snacks and patience ready.
From Dur, you grab a local jeep towards Thal and then Kumrat, and this is where the adventure really begins. The road becomes rough, narrow, and honestly, pretty fun if you enjoy bumpy rides. If not, just don't sit at the very back of the jeep like I did.
Yeah, he was bouncing around like a backpack. But that jeep ride is part of the charm of Kumrat. By the time you reach the main Kumrat camping area, you're surrounded by thick forests, the river next to you, and that cool northern air. We stayed in simple camps by the river. Nothing fancy, but they were comfortable with blankets and basic meals.
Next morning is when Katora Lake actually starts becoming real. You usually first head towards the last village or point where jeeps can reach on that side. Different locals will call it slightly different names, but your guide will know. From there, the trekking day begins.
Which brings us to the basics: guide, costs, and difficulty. For Katora Lake, I strongly recommend a local guide. They know the trail, the weather moods, and where to camp if needed. When we went, guides were roughly in the range of what you'd spend on a couple of restaurant meals in a big city for the whole day. And if you hire a pony for your bag, that's extra, but still very reasonable considering the effort.
Exactly. Prices change every season, so always confirm on the ground. That's important. In terms of difficulty, I'd call it a moderate trek. If you're used to walking and light hikes, you'll manage with breaks. If you rarely walk, it will feel tough, but still possible if you go slow and listen to your body.
For us, including photo stops, chai breaks, and me pretending to adjust my bag just so I could breathe, it took around one long day up and back with an early start. Many people break it by camping near the lake or along the way, which I would love to do next time.
Okay, let's talk about the actual trail, because that's what everyone wants to picture in their head.
The first part feels friendly. You're walking through green meadows, sometimes passing small shepherd huts, with streams cutting quietly across the path. The sound of water stays with you almost the entire day. The trail then starts climbing gradually, and you feel the altitude kicking in. Your steps become slower, but the views get bigger and wider.
One thing I loved, water is available in many spots. Small streams, fresh and freezing. Just carry a bottle and keep refilling instead of dragging a whole water tank on your back.
Yes, that helps a lot. Now, about weather. Even if you start in sunny conditions, as you gain height, it gets cold fast, especially when clouds roll in. At one point, I remember we just entered this pocket of cold air. My hands started going numb while my face was still warm from the sun. It's a strange mix.
And the air gets thinner, not extreme, but enough that you notice your breathing. This is where listening to your body matters. If you feel dizzy or too exhausted, slow down, rest, talk to your guide. Everyone's fitness and altitude tolerance is different. There's no medal for rushing.
For me, there was one steep section where every step felt like a small negotiation with myself. In my head, I was like, okay, just 20 more steps. Then you can stop and pretend you're admiring the view. But honestly, that's part of the charm of a trek like this. You feel your limits, and then you slowly push them.
And then finally, that last turn, you climb over a small ridge and boom, there's the lake.
Katora Lake sits like this giant crystal bowl. The water is this deep bluish green, and there are often patches of snow floating or lying around the edges, even when everything below is green. Winds can be sharp up there, so the moment you stop walking, the cold hits harder.
Some people set up their tents near the lake, which looks incredible at sunrise and sunset. If you're camping, just choose a safe, flat spot away from any obvious rockfall areas, and respect the environment. No litter, no loud music. Let the place stay as magical as it looks.
My personal moment up there was very simple. I just sat on a rock, dipped my hand in the freezing water, and looked back at the trail we had climbed. You can't see the whole path from there, but you know how far you've come. I remember thinking, if a slightly out-of-shape guy like me can make it, so can a lot of people, if they prepare properly.
Okay, before we get too emotional, let's give a quick packing checklist, because this is where people either overpack or regret not packing enough.
All right, here's what I definitely bring for a Katora Lake trek. Comfortable, broken-in trekking shoes, a warm layer like a fleece or light jacket, a waterproof or windproof outer layer, a cap or beanie, and at least one pair of extra socks. Your future self will thank you for those dry socks.
Add to that a reusable water bottle, some energy snacks like nuts or chocolate, basic medicines you're used to, and a power bank if you're planning to take lots of photos or videos.
Now, the one thing I regretted not packing properly? Good gloves. I had very basic ones, and up near the lake, my hands were freezing when the wind picked up. So don't repeat that mistake. Carry decent gloves, even if the weather looks friendly at the start.
What can you skip? You don't need to carry too much water from the base because of all the streams. Also, avoid heavy, unnecessary gadgets or extra outfits. You'll feel every extra kilo on those steep sections.
So, does Katora Lake deserve a place on your northern Pakistan plan? If you enjoy a bit of a challenge, love raw mountain scenery, and are okay with getting tired in exchange for a huge reward at the top, then yes, it absolutely does.
Just remember, everyone's fitness level is different. Hire a local guide, discuss your pace and any health concerns with them, and don't compare your speed to anyone else's. This isn't a race, it's a journey.
If you're thinking, okay, this sounds amazing, but I need the boring details written down, like the route summary, updated cost range, and a simple checklist, don't worry. We've put together a small Katora Lake mini guide for you.
Just head over to our website. You'll find everything in one place so you can save it, share it with your friends, or show it to your family when you're convincing them to let you go.
Wherever you're listening from, I hope this little snapshot of our trek helps you plan your own day above the clouds. Travel safe, respect the mountains, and maybe one day you'll be standing by that icy blue water, out of breath and smiling, just like we were.